Hello, hello. Today we have another creative chat, and I have Julie here with me. Julie is a marketing coach, a content creator, a self-publisher of books on Amazon, and a whole lot of more, because she says she's a woman with a lot of hats on her head, which is definitely true. So Julie, I'm so happy that you're here.
Thanks so much for inviting me, Natalie. I am thrilled to be here with you today.
I'm thrilled too. It's so fun. Okay, so could you tell me a bit more about all those hats that you have?
Yeah, so many hats. I run digital marketing workshops and training for corporates and for small business owners, and I do that through other organizations. So that's one hat. I also have my own training and courses that I run through my website, Julie Hall Online. The corporate stuff I tend to do through my business website, which is the School of Marketing. And I'm also a business mentor, a marketing coach, as you said. And then finally, last year, I started creating low and medium content books, which I publish on Amazon and is my new favorite creative, fun thing to do.
I think that's so exciting, and we should definitely talk more about that, because if you're talking low and medium content, what does that mean?
So it means they're books that don't have a lot of words in it, right? So I'm definitely one of those people that had always wanted to write a book, but I get really overwhelmed every time I think about it. I've started 2 books. I've got actually reasonably, maybe 10, 15,000 words in. But it's hard work writing a book, right? And so I came across this process sort of by accident last year. I was taking a course from a mutual friend of ours, Claudia Arengo. And she does this program around creating passive income products. And when I did the course, I was creating some templates for Etsy. So I do Canva templates as well. I was creating some templates for Etsy. And I discovered this world of KDP and low content, which is where people create documents that put them together in a book format. They tend to be quite simple in structure. So they might have maybe a few different layouts, but basically people write in them. So it might be like a gratitude journal, which is one of my, was probably my best-selling product. It could be a journal, it could be a notebook, it could be a tracker or a logbook of some description. I've just recently published a coloring book for kids. So they're books that don't have a lot of words in them, though they do have some words. Like my gratitude journal has some words at the front, but for the rest of the pages, they're just multiple pages, which are essentially the same thing that people can use to write down notes and thoughts, etc. inside. And then you create a cover and upload it to Amazon, and you're good to go. And it's just really fun. Like you, I used to be a web designer kind of back in the day. So I started building websites back in 2001 and stopped building them in about 2012, other than for myself, which, you'll know this, Natalie, really easy. When you know how to build websites, right, you tend to build a lot of them kind of unnecessarily, I think. But anyway, and so I've not really had a creative outlet in that kind of way since I stopped building websites for other people. So this is just a really nice way to get creative and do some fun things.
Yeah, I love it. I just saw your coloring book the other day. I was like, oh, that's so cute. It's an alphabet.
That's right. Yeah.
So all of the letters are there, and there's a picture for each one of them. So yeah, I thought that was really cute and fun. And educational in the process as well.
Well, that's the idea, I guess. I mean, I do want to do, it's actually quite time consuming. It was a lot harder to create a coloring book than it was to create like a journal. But I've been trying to do it ever since I started this KDP journey, and it's finally I've got it done. And now I want to do more things. I want to do quiz books and puzzle books and stuff like that, because because it's fun and it's creative and it's cute and it's cute. Kid stuff is cute, right? It's a really nice way to create cute things that I just, I don't, again, I definitely don't have that sort of outlet in my business life. So doing it this way is good and I enjoy it.
Good. So for those of you who wonder, I also did an interview with Claudia, so you can see that one here. Watch it after this one. Yeah, and I was wondering, like, is it because it's so broad as the KDP world and the self-publishing world? Did it bring out different elements of creativity for you, or is it all the same kind of creativity?
No, it's totally different. So like So I tend to be quite inspiration driven in the sense that, when something pops into my head, I will go and just do it. And as opposed to being really strategic about it. So there are lots of people out in the KDP world that, do loads of research and spend a long time trying to figure out what everybody else is doing. I don't do that. I don't know if it's the right thing to do or not, but that's not what I do. I tend to just do what kind of comes to me in the moment. So, and that's resulted in a couple of slightly strange offers. So, so one of them is a period tracker for girls, which, is a bit random. And I don't know, I mean, I've got a 14-year-old girl, and I guess that must have been the inspiration. And, we were having a conversation and she was just saying, I don't really know when my cycle's coming. And she gets really moody. And it's like, maybe it would be good just to track that. And then turns out it's a thing. So I created one. So that one, it's not a big seller, but I've probably sold about 10 of those since I created it. And then the other one was when I was on holiday last summer. We were in Cyprus and it was the most ridiculously hot weather I think I've ever been in my life. So it kind of felt like we were staying inside more than you might want to on a sun holiday. And I started creating a children's illustrated book. So, but I'm not actually an illustrator. I'm, I've got no illustration skill at all. I'm really good, I think, at putting things together. And this is that kind of web design skill thing, isn't it? Where you put things together in a particular layout and you know what things look like visually and stuff. So I buy other people's illustrations and I compiled them into a nursery rhyme book. So it's and they're all kind of really well-known counting nursery rhymes that people might have, and like 5 little ducks swimming one day, for example. And so I've just created a book of nursery rhymes, which just counts through that. So that's a totally different kind of creative skill to actually building a template for gratitude or creating a period tracker. I've also almost finished. I was just saying to Natalie earlier, I have lots of kind of slightly unfinished books in my library. So one of which is like is similar to the nursery rhyme one, which is Christmas carols. And then the other one is my social media planner, which, I've got to this sort of almost finished state. It's so close. It's like maybe 5-10% away from being done. I've even got the cover design. And I'm not able to get it out the door just yet, but I'm sure it will come. And I think it's because there's something about it that's not quite right. So, when you're, in that kind of creative mode, sometimes you need to put something away and then bring it back out and and then you get that inspiration again for what it needs. So I'm kind of hoping that's going to happen.
And I think that's very true. Like, we were talking about motivation just before we went on the call, and I actually have 2 workbooks myself that I made 2 years ago. And they were like, they were almost done. Like, they were ready to go. I even had like a few test them out. So I have testimonials for them. And somehow I just never really put them out. And I am in Claudia's program right now, and I'm working on Elementor templates and a few other things, more from a digital product kind of.
Brilliant.
But I thought of myself, like, at some point, these two workbooks are actually going out and becoming books on Amazon because they've been almost ready for 2 years. They need to be released into the world.
It's such a great feeling, Natalie. It really is. Like, it's being able to hold. I'm just thinking, I don't actually think, fortunately, I don't think I've got one in my office, or I would show you. But having tangibly holding something in your hand that you have created, that is a book, that it's cover, it's got a cover and you open it up and it's your words and your designs. It's just the best feeling. And if anybody is interested in doing that, then, I really suggest that you start with a notebook, because doing something like a workbook, like what you've got, that's quite a lot of work, right? Whereas a notebook is literally lines and a cover. And that was definitely how I started out. So I created a couple of notebooks, and then I ended up doing the alphabet, which again, I would not recommend, because then you have to create 26 of the same thing. But, to be fair, they did sell a little bit over Christmas. So anyway, but that gets you into that groove of creating and uploading something to Amazon before you actually do the thing that you really care about, or that's really relevant to your business.
I think that's such a good point, because now I'm doing the Elementor templates, and there are already so many small things that I have to think about: how to deliver it, the branding images for Etsy, the description, the instructions. There's already so much. And like, if you're doing something like a KDP book, and you have to also think about the content of the book and then all those other elements, I think you're making it harder for yourself. While if you do like in Canva, something with a few lines and then just copying that a gazillion times, you have your KDP book.
Yeah.
I only found out the other day, and I've been using Canva a lot, but that you can actually make all of the items that you have space out.
Yeah, the evenly spaced. Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, why didn't I know that before? Because that was such a life changer.
It definitely is. There are definitely a few tricks and tips in Canva that can make a huge difference to your kind of workflow, because it can. Otherwise, you can spend hours trying to get things to line up, align properly, space properly. There's so much, but I love it. Canva for me is an amazing tool. It gives us so much freedom, I think, in terms of what it makes possible.
Yeah, I actually played this morning with a YouTube banner. So when you're seeing this video, I have a new YouTube banner. And I like played for I think an hour, but just like having the option to line things out and seeing how things would look in different, because with YouTube you have several different ways it's going to be displayed, so you need to keep that in mind. But having that option within Canva just made it so much easier to work with.
Definitely does. No, I don't. It's interesting. I recently purchased an piece of artificial intelligence software. I don't know if you've had much experience with that, Natalie.
I have used one.
Was that Jarvis?
Yes.
Yeah. So this one is an AppSumo one. It's called Predis. And what you do, it's kind of amazing. I haven't really played with it a lot, and I need to make sure I add my brand colors and stuff. But you tell it what topic you want to write about. It will create a social caption for you and a graphic.
Ooh.
I know, right? And I'm like, this is kind of amazing. Like, talk about a time saver, right?
Graphic.
So I'll let you know how that goes, because I'm playing with it at the minute to see whether or not I actually think it's any good. But first look definitely looks very interesting.
Okay.
Mind you, I do have lots of AppSumo purchases that are gathering dust on my computer. So
it's the reason I stopped using AppSumo, because in the beginning of my business, I've bought quite a few tools over AppSumo. that I never, ever used. I was like, okay, they're really cheap every time, but at some point, all the non-used tools also add up. So I just stopped using AppSumo. I don't want to see it because then I can't get tempted.
It's smart. It's smart. Though I recently bought one which was based on, I'm sure you probably mentioned Lizzie Goddard.
Yes.
In your program. So because Natalie and I met in Lizzie's program, and she uses a tool called Spread Simple, which you connect to a piece of form software, and then it automatically generates a web page with images, text, if you've got a shop, with prices, even a buy button, based on a spreadsheet. And it's genuinely mind-blowing. Like, it's mind-blowing how good and efficient this tool is.
Yeah, that was definitely, when I saw that one, I was like, okay, that's definitely very interesting, especially if you buy in early in AppSumo and you spend so little for a tool and it's probably going to be only even more amazing later on. So
yeah, mind you, I only got 10 codes. I'm going to keep an eye out because I think it's so I can only use it 10 times before I have to start paying again. Yeah, but it's still so good, and it's because it's a lifetime thing. I think it's just amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah,
I love amazing software. You're a tech geek like me too, Natalie.
I definitely am. Yeah,
right. I mean, software. Just the things we can do today that literally blow my mind.
And I think it's the good and the bad thing about having an online business. There is so much amazing software that can make your business easier and quicker and more fun, but it's also the big rabbit hole we can go into. And it's also the thing, like, having the wrong tools can really mess you up. So before I started using Thrivecart for my cart system, I used WooCommerce, which, no bad words about WooCommerce, but I had to have I think I had 5 extra plugins to make WooCommerce do the things I needed to make it do. And that's where it all went. Like, it was crazy, and it would break every time, and there was always something. And I noticed I didn't dare to sell because there was always something wrong. And it was keeping me from doing the things that I should be doing because I was just unsure, and the tech was making me unsure of things. So I think tech can be really, really fun. It can also be a huge headache, which is also why I do a lot of tech tutorials on here. And I will keep doing that because I want to make it easier for people, and especially for creatives and creators, because we want to be creative and not get bogged down by the tech.
You're so right. And like Thrivecart's amazing. I hope you've got an affiliate link, Natalie. And it's just like, for me, I bought Thrivecart in 2020, August 2020. And it's a big cost, right? It's not, it's like at the time, it felt really risky to me because I was running my first live training in a long time, and I was like, am I going to make this $500 back? And I think I got the affiliate one, so it was like $695.
Yeah,
it was a big
the same
gulp
price right now at the time of recording. Yeah,
huge kind of mindset thing to get it. But man, that piece of software has paid for itself over and over and over again. And because it's lifetime access, I do like lifetime access, like software, because it's a big bite at the time, but then you've always got it right when it's the right software.
Yes, exactly. Because I think so. I was actually talking to someone yesterday, and we were talking about lifetime deals and how I also have lifetime deals where I feel like after I spend my money, because sometimes I will do a few months, and then if I feel like it's a cool deal, I will go for a lifetime thing. But I've had and not even just tech, but also just programs where I decided to upgrade to lifetime. And then I felt like they went away from the promise that they made. I'm like, but this is not what I wanted to spend my money on, or why I paid you. And then you feel a bit sad. And especially with these kinds of, like, if it's huge chunks of money, then especially it feels wrong. Because if you would have been, just kept paying monthly, you would just stop. But I think Thrivecart for me, well, it's definitely a great choice. And like you said, it just makes life so much easier.
Yeah.
I bought it at the end of 2020. I was a bit later because I had to work, and I had like spend all the time setting it up. Like we were talking, like it can take up a lot of time, and I had spent so much time making it work. I was like, but I don't want to now spend the money on another tool. But when I did, I set it up in 3 hours, and then I had all my products in there. I had connections between different software. It was all done. I was like, oh my gosh, why didn't I do this earlier? Yeah. And now, especially with Learn added to that, I am actually moving over. I had a separate course platform that I built myself as well with WordPress. But I'm now moving over all of my courses and products to Learn, because now it's completely all integrated. And so I think having those, like, even if they're more expensive or they're a one-time bigger fee, and you're like, oh my gosh, if you know that they can make a huge change in your business, they're so worth it, because I don't need to spend any money anymore on card products or course products, and it's all going to work.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? Yeah, nice for sure.
So before we went live, we also talked a bit about motivation, and you mentioned it before in your talk as well. Like, motivation is really important. And you were talking about that, like with the 5 products that aren't ready yet, but also like not having any motivation or not much motivation right now. Could you tell me a little bit more about that and how you deal with that?
Yeah, so it's a really good question. When I am in a good place and energized, I am unstoppable, right? But since December, maybe even slightly earlier, I feel like all my inspiration left me, just disappeared. And and that's hard. That's hard, right? I was it's not like there was just nothing. It felt like my head was empty. And I, wanted to do things. I wanted to make plans for 2022. And, I would sit my planning, like I print out a document which 6 months in the future, like, what am I going to do each month? Nothing. Thankfully, a couple of things did happen, which was Lizzie did her Christmas party. So I wanted to put something in for that. I didn't create anything new. I just took one of my old courses part of an old course that I delivered for something else at the beginning of the year. It already actually was turned into like its own little mini course. So I submitted that. But as part of that, I'd said that I was going to do a live round, a supported round for people. And in January. So that kind of meant I sort of had to do it, because I think so you asked, like, how do I deal with it? Public accountability is how I deal with it. If I say I'm going to do something, then I tend to show up for it. Even if I don't want to do it, even if I have no motivation for it. So that literally kicked off this week. And that's been really fun, and definitely has got things started to come up for me again creatively. And I'm creating some additional content for that and doing some fun things for it. So that's good. And that feels good. I still don't have much more beyond that, though. And then the other thing is, I kind of play a bit around with my KDP stuff, which is not business critical, but it does give me the chance to do some things that feel fun and interesting. So even though I don't know where that's going to take me, or I don't have a clear or fixed idea of what that's going to be, then I can do that. But I had a conversation with my mentor last week about this exact thing. And I was like, I just don't know what to do. And she said, what if you just do nothing? Like if money is not an issue, and I am in a fortunate position that for me right now in January, money is not an issue because I had a really, really busy October and November last year, which has given me a bit of a buffer. She said, just allow this time to, reflect, to see what comes up for you, just do the other things that are going on in your life and see what happens. And that's been really nice. It's been really nice. I mean, there's still a part of me that's like, well, what comes next? But I am, again, fortunate in that I have like a fairly regular income stream through the freelance consulting and stuff that I do, the freelance training that I do. And I know I'm doing my KDP course again in March. So I'm doing another live round for that. And that's fixed because I've told people I'm doing it. So that means it has to happen. And then, and then if something comes up in February, great. But if it doesn't, I'm kind of not going to sweat it too much. So I think if it continues into June and July, then I'll start to get really worried. But for the moment, I'm just going to go with it. But worst case, because like what I find is, even if I'm not motivated to do something, if I say I'm going to do something, the act of doing stuff brings the motivation and the inspiration back, right? There's nothing like action to start getting things moving again. So if nothing else comes up, I'll probably do something at the end of April, beginning of May, say what I'm going to do. And then, who knows where that will take me. So even if I'm not feeling it clearly at that point, I still will probably just end up doing some stuff.
I think rest, like giving yourself the space to be creative, and action are really the two things that will get you going again. So as we've talked before about on this channel, is that I've had 2 not so great years in a lot of ways. And it made my creativity just go away completely at some point. It made me non-motivated. When I did things, I did them half-assed and not like we were talking before. Like right now, I have so many great ideas that I'm having trouble to focus. And so that's making it hard to actually finish something. But back then, it wasn't that I didn't want like people to know about it or to do it, but I really couldn't. Like there was just not the motivation, the energy to finish that project or to finish that thing. And I do think that giving myself, first of all, the space to find things that were fun again, to not make everything a must, because at some point I had all my products done that I was like doing at that time, or services mostly actually. And like half of them didn't actually excite me anymore. And I was doing them because I felt like it was a must. And when I changed it all over last year from the summer to like October, that old it started to shift in me, and I had all these other ideas that I've had for years that I just couldn't get out, that suddenly it feels like they all popped up at the same time, which is why I'm now in like overwhelm in the other stage, because I have so many ideas. But they were just not able to come to the front because I was not in a good place. And getting myself to do the action to make space for that by giving myself creative freedom and setting myself up like, okay, you need to finish these things, change these things so that you have space. Those two were like really important to be able to get to this place again where I feel like I can do things. And like you said, like if you have the financial opportunity to take that rest and to just play. I think just playing around and trying out new things. And we say in Dutch, like throw up a balloon. I don't know if that's an English saying as well, but like
it's not, but I love it.
it's like you throw up a lot of balloons and you watch some of them float and some of them come down, and then you know which ones work.
Brilliant.
And I think that's the whole thing. Like you need to do that. Yeah.
I think the other thing, as you were talking, the thing for me is to follow the impulses as well, right? So I'm a great believer that, I'm a great believer in kind of, just following the opportunities, see what comes your way. Like when I took Claudia's course last year, I had, at the beginning of the year, my word of the year was creativity, right? So I was like, I still have it on my screen. It says, create what you want to create just because you want to create it, right? So, which is following your gut, doing those things that feel, I don't know, just feel fun, right? Yeah. And interesting, and not doing stuff just for the money. Sometimes you have to do some stuff to bring the money in, but allowing yourself the space to do things just because they feel good. And so I knew I wanted to create things. I also knew I wanted to do something that didn't require me to show up to deliver my training, like to be live on stuff, which is why when Claudia's program showed up in April or whatever, I was like, yeah, this sounds like what I need. But even then, at that point, I had no idea it would take me in the direction that it did, right? I mean, I definitely could be creating Etsy stores, and I could be selling things on my Etsy store, my templates, even my KDP stuff, whatever. But at the moment, I'm just in that place of still really enjoying the creative aspect of it. And then at some other point, I will probably move into other outlets. But for right now, it just feels really good to be in that place of creativity and joy, and in my work, which is kind of amazing.
I love that. My word for the year is actually create.
Is it?
And one of my subheaders is create for the hell of it.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Like just like create whatever it is. Like if I want to make a birthday calendar around here with my cardstock, that's fun. If I want to create an Elementor template, that's fun. If I want to do a KDP book, like just create for the hell of it. And I think I like that you had that last year. And I think
definitely did. And it's continuing. I'm still want to create stuff this year.
Yeah. And I think as creators, as creative people, we sometimes feel like we put ourselves in a box, while as creatives, you kind of just shouldn't put yourself in a box. So you're working against yourself and you're making it harder on yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
So Julie actually has a KDP course.
I do.
Could you tell us a bit more about that?
So it's called KDP Magic, and I take you through from beginning to end that process of creating and uploading a book. In it, there is a module on creating stuff in Canva, there's stuff on creating stuff in PowerPoint, but if you use another design tool like Affinity Designer or Illustrator, Publisher, any of those, you can use those too. And we have a notebook challenge to get you into publishing your first book. And it was amazing because I ran it for the first time at the end of September last year. And we had a really, really active, engaged group on Facebook. And of the people that publish books, 4 of them have published more than 10 books ever since.
Oh, wow. More than 10.
Amazing, right?
That is amazing. Yes.
It is amazing. Like they've got the bug and they're just like, just going for it. And so we're doing another live round in March, which is where you can come in and ask questions and get feedback and ideas and whatever. I'm hoping that the people that took it the first time round will come back and then do a more challenging book this time. So we'll see.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's brilliant. And you can find it on my website, which is juliehallonline.com. magic.com, and then I think it's /KDP magic.
Yeah, and I will put it down in the description as well.
Perfect.
Well, thank you so much, Julie. This was so much fun.
It's been brilliant fun, Natalie. I really loved it. It's so good to talk about creativity.
It is.
Because
it's so broad and it's so much fun.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching this creative chat. I have quite a few more creative chats, which you can find over here. I have a creative chat every 3 weeks. The other weeks, I post strategies and tech for creative entrepreneurs. And so you can have more fun, more cake, and more customers. If that sounds good, please don't forget to subscribe. And I will see you next week.